Software engineering is an oversaturated field. That being said, I'm still going to share with you the tips and the steps that I took to become a programmer as a high school student. Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm a high school software engineer, and today we're going to talk about how can you also become a software engineer, especially in this ultra-saturated field where it feels like everybody and their mother is trying to become a software engineer. Okay, so number one, the first thing you need to do, obviously, you need to learn how to code. It's kind of like a given. I have a video and I'll link it up here on the steps to learn how to code properly. There is a method to the madness, and I feel as though I have found a solid method on learning how to program. So be sure to check out that video. But just to give a quick synopsis so you don't have to leave, the top 3 methods that I highly recommend. 1, learning on YouTube, watching videos specifically teaching you how to code and then doing like the lessons with the video on the side. 2, learning with a program like Codecademy, Coursera, the Odin Project. 3, following a lecture-based learning session, something like Harvard CS50. Those are all like 3 massive ways for learning the basics, like learning the syntax of code and things of that sort. And then you can start growing your skills from there. Now, for my personal journey, I learned how to code when I was 12. That's when I really started my journey. I was on and off until I was around 14. That's when I really locked in, and that's where I learned JavaScript. I learned Python in there as well. I don't exactly remember what year I learned or how old I was. I just know that's something else I learned after doing JavaScript. And then after Python, I was like, oh, I'm done with back-end development. For now, I kind of really want to hone in on JavaScript, which is where I learned React, which is where I am now. I am a React developer. So now the next things I'm personally learning are React Native, and then another full-on framework for JavaScript is Node.js for working in the back end with JavaScript, and also Next.js. Along with those two are just things that I'm personally learning so I can grow my own skills. So these are just stepping stones in my personal journey of learning how to code, but ultimately learning to code is the first thing you need to do to get your foot in the door. The second thing that I did was make a portfolio. You're not gonna feel ready, you're not gonna feel like you know anything. That doesn't matter. Just try your best and make something small. Make a tic-tac-toe game. Make a weather tracking app, use APIs and tie that into your code. Learn how to really access other people's code. Start working with GitHub, contributing to other people's projects, tracking your own projects. Building your own portfolio at the end of the day really adds some backing to whatever you are trying to do. The next thing you need to do is make a LinkedIn. Now, honestly, this can be put at the first thing, but it doesn't really matter. But it at least needs to be done here, which, for those of you who don't know, LinkedIn is like corporate Instagram, where you make your profile, which is pretty much your digital resume, and then you connect with other professionals within whatever field you are trying to enter. This is where you are going to be able to connect with people that work the jobs you want to work, or connect with people that are hiring, and where you can see if they're hiring for like positions that you want to work in. But at the end of the day, making a LinkedIn, just starting the steps on your professional journey for this industry, it's gonna set you ahead of the game, and it's what people really recognize and respect when it comes to joining the tech industry. It's also a great place for you to grab new information with this really quickly growing field. Like, it changes every single day. So by connecting with people that are in the know and the people that like post about it, you're able to stay updated with all the very fast-paced changes that happen in this industry literally overnight. The next thing I'm gonna say is do free work. Like, one thing that I personally did was I worked as a volunteer camp counselor where I taught programming to middle schoolers. Mind you, I did this when I was 14, so I was the same age, if not 1 year older than these people that I was teaching. But at the end of the day, it really helped me learn my skills better, because there's no better way of learning something than teaching it to somebody else. Ultimately, by doing free work, you are able to really hone in on your own skills some more. And it also builds up your portfolio more as well. The next thing I'm gonna say, get an internship. Now, these don't have to be paid, but I highly recommend trying to aim for a paid internship. This is where you use your LinkedIn connections. Slide up on a CIO's DMs and be like, hi, are y'all interested in having an intern for the fall? Are y'all looking at having somebody do some OPS work? Now, some internships that are pre-made by certain really big tech companies are extremely competitive. That not saying that you shouldn't be applying for those, but also just check out some smaller companies. Check out universities. A lot of the local universities and colleges have interns where they need people to be coding their new websites and things of that sort. Check these things out for you to build your own portfolio. And then once you're done with your internships, get the jobs. Now, I personally still am at the internship phase of this because I'm still a high schooler, so they're not really looking at hiring me full-time yet. But I can still obviously say the next step after an internship is getting offered full-time positions at either the place you work at or at other places later on in life with, again, your LinkedIn connections or without, just checking it out. But building your portfolio is just a great way for you to help grow yourself and become a software engineer in this highly competitive field. And it's something that I've used to become a software engineer in this highly competitive field. Thanks to the steps that I've done in this video, I have secured 2 different internships, one paid, one not. Thanks to these 2 internships, I've grown my network with a lot of professionals within the industry. I try my best to make my presence known in a good way, obviously. So people that are interested in looking for more help around their jobs and things can be like, hey, I remember Courtney, she was really helpful. Now, once you get internships under your belt, this is where there's a large drop off between getting the job and not, because you kind of have to go back into a school-like mind and study for these job interviews in some instances where you're doing leak code problems and things of that sort for you to stay on top of it and complete these high-level questions that they're requiring of you. Now, like I said, this is an extremely ultra-competitive industry nowadays. So because of that, you need to set yourself aside from the rest and stand out in any way you can when it comes to these job interviews and things of that sort. Now, if you are lucky, if you're blessed, you are able to hopefully get an extension from your internship for a full-time position. Now, if you're like me and you still really want to get paid, but you're doing unpaid internships, apprenticeships, shadow work, or you're still kind of just trying to get your feet wet, do some paid side jobs, do freelance. It's not hard making websites for your local bakery. They'll pay you like $500 to $2,000 to do it. It's pretty simple and they're really like open to whatever you can create. I've personally made a plethora of different websites, things ranging from lawn care to college success websites. So at the end of the day, do what you must to grow your portfolio and show that you know what you're doing. Because also people will discount you for your age. So prove them wrong and make sure that they know you know what you're doing and you know what you're talking about. Now, doing this can be very stressful and it can be really hard for you to decipher a work-life balance working specifically in the tech industry. So I highly recommend you check out one of my videos. I'll link up there on bettering your work-life balance within the tech industry. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you next time on Court's Corner.